Good afternoon. I haven't done a video in a while, and this is actually an axe video, so my regular viewers, if you want to watch axes, that's fine. I'll get right to the point. This all started with a video I made in 2013. I made this handle, and I put it in this axe, which was unbalanced to the handle. La-di-da-di-da. Long story short, I learned a lot, but I didn't make a good axe handle. I get a comment from Wrangler Star. You know, I had like 300-400 subs at the time. We all know who Wrangler Star is. Nice handle. I can't remember it exactly. I'll look up the video. I'll post a link to it. But nice handle, but why the curved handle? And I was confused because I grew up using, this is my father's axe. We're going to talk more about that handle right there. We had 5 or 6 double-bitted axes. After my father got done farming, he had an antique shop. They disappeared. I don't know where they went. I'm going to put this handle here, enough of that, but Cody asked me about it, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't have any idea that this was your standard double-bitted axe handle. I thought they were all curved. This is what I grew up using. This is what we farmed with. Well, I started wondering, well, why? Why does this part of the country, why did we do this? And I know the neighbor, the old farm side of us, his axes were like this. Other people that I saw their axes were like this. There was a lot of single-bitted axes used. I didn't have one up here with me right now. We all know what I'm talking about with a single-bitted axe. And they had curved handles. Well, why I made this handle, I got this one out of a dumpster. It's a Collins Legitimus. And I went to get a handle for it, and all I could find were these things. And I said, Chris, I don't want to straight handle my axe. Nobody does that. So that's why I made one. And I learned more about axes, became interested. This is a Collins Legitimus. I found that axe head in a scrap metal dumpster when I was working my government job. And I scarfed it up, brought it home. However, this is my father's axe. I remember him putting that handle in it when I was a kid. Why we use these handles, not to get too long here in the Northeast. I've talked to, the old guys are dead. I was fortunate to have known some, but I'm piecing things together. Here in the Northeast, when they used the axe to cut lumber, firewood and lumber, they burned everything they came to. If they were out and they're cutting hemlock to build a barn or a house or a shed, what wasn't used was used in somebody's sugar house, and it was all used. But when they were the hemlock and the pine, white pine, and cedar, a lot of cedar was cut here. There were I can find cedar, huge cedar beams in old barns. People say they didn't use that. They did. They used what they had. So when they were cutting the cedar, the white pine, and the hemlock that grew here in northwestern Vermont, northeastern New York, they call it western New York, New Yorkers do, but it's actually east of me. These trees that grew, as they grow up, the bottom branches die. And they become very, very hard and brittle. They're not good for much. You don't use the lower branches for anything. Well, when they went out and they were cutting the tree, they had the good curved part of the handle for a good powerful swing and a real sharp blade that they cut the live wood with. Once the cedar or the hemlock was down on the ground, then they had this side was blunt. I won't really slap on this side because it's relatively sharp. This side was left quite blunt. At that point they choked up. Some of them even used one hand, and they went up the tree, chopped, basically smashing those dead branches off. That this was more blunt, because I don't know why, I can't explain it, but using the sharpened edge on frozen branches, you ended up with this happening. This is a Black Raven axe. I got this from the original owner. We bought his farm he was the farm side of us. We bought his farm. I've heard him tell a story a million times. Will Ballard in Georgia, Vermont was going to build a barn. He hired local farmers and they didn't charge much. They had their farms they ran, and they got together and they went and they cut the lumber when somebody's building a barn or something where they needed. And he was getting paid 25 cents a day to work in the woods, and he bought this axe, put a handle in it, and the first swing he took with it on a hemlock branch, that's what he did to it. It spent the rest of its life in his barn, chopping frozen manure off his horse-drawn manure cart. In later years, it was tractor-drawn. And it's kind of funny to hear him talk about a black raven versus what we do today. I mean, they're very sought after, they're very loved. This one had the hell beat out of it. You can't hardly make the embossing out anymore, but it is a black raven. He preferred a Collins Legitimus. He felt these were too hard, that they did this. I don't know if there was more on that farm somewhere or not. I don't know. But that's why we have this Adirondack style handle in a very small area here in the Northeast. It's when you're taking those frozen brittle branches out, you're actually using this as a hammer to break them versus a cutting tool. You know, we've said, well, they use this side to cut with, this side to split with. Well, I do want to do a splitting video on a technique of splitting firewood that was done here in the sugaring part of the world, where they make maple syrup and they split a lot of long length firewood. And that'll be another video, but I hope that makes an explanation. Whiskey River YouTube channel. There's a fellow that gives an explanation on there that's very good too. The other thing I do want to mention about this handle in this video, this is an 8-sided handle. My father did not make that. My father never made an axe handle. He bought it and he put it in. Where I learned all of a sudden a lot about these, this handle is overshot. It's got a chunk broken out of it. I was going to saw it up and handle in it when I went buy one of these. I wanted a curved handle. I knew they were hard to get, but I said I'll find one online. Whiskey River has them for $60-something, which isn't bad for a good handle. It's well worth it when you have a nice quality old axe. That's not a bad price. Is it Beaver Tooth? There's another one that has one for $200. That's an Adirondack style handle. But this one is octagonal and 8-sided. And a guy calls himself Rooster. I don't know him. Seems very knowledgeable. He said that was to control the swing of the axe from turning in your hand. And I didn't even realize, I just thought, wow, that's the way the machine shaped it. Well, I hope you find this, if you're an axe enthusiast, you find this informational, interesting, whatever. And that is chicken blood. Turkey blood and chicken blood. My father used his axe as a tool. He kept this one because he bought it new when he was in high school. I don't know the other ones. I think they were Collins's. I don't know. I know they weren't Black Raven. I think they were Collins's, but I just know they're gone. When he had the antique shop, he sold a lot of the old tools of the different farms. Farming, that'd be another video in itself, but farming here in the Northeast, they've been sized out over the years. We were sized out. We were consumed by development and larger farms. And my father bought, I think there's 5 different small farms that made up the farm that we had. Well, he got a bunch of old tools and stuff that are no longer here that he sold. They were his, do what he wanted with them. But I hope you found this informational. Thanks for watching. I don't know if anybody has a connection to Wrangler Star, because I'm sure he won't be searching around watching my videos. Tell him to watch this one. He may find it interesting. He's probably already discovered the answer as to why we had these curved double-bitted axe handles here in the northeast Vermont, northwest Vermont, northwest New York. I don't think they were even a greatly used thing throughout the whole state. When you got back into hardwood and spruce, and pine isn't so bad. Hemlock is a son of a bitch. I mean, those hemlock branches, dead branches, are brittle, and they're hard to work with. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you find that informative.